If my gym program had me doing hex bar deadlifts, but I've never done them before, I don't have the kit or I'm worried about throwing my back out, should I just man up and do a barbell deadlift instead? And I don't think you should, because I provide alternates in my Dad Armour program. That's how we run things. But if you are adamant on you need to learn this because you need to man up, here's how to actually teach you to do that. So there's gonna be two types of guys watching this video. There's gonna be the guy who's just gonna crack on and do it regardless if it hurts him, and there's gonna be the guy who wants to get this to the absolute T perfect. Almost just being perfectionist in general. They don't want to put a foot wrong. They don't want to hurt themselves. They need to do it right. And I don't disagree with either. So if you're someone who wants to get straight on with it, I would do this. Rather than picking up from the floor, because that's where you have to actually reach down to the floor the most and you can wreck your back, put some plates underneath your barbell. Like this. Put some plates under your bar, as simple as it looks, raises the bar up, meaning you have less work to get down to the bar. If you're taller, this is even better because most of us, when you're learning this exercise, will just round through the back to get down to it. Whereas actually you need to be using your legs more, but we're gonna teach you that in a second. But this means when you're trying to reach down using your hips and your legs, you're less likely for the last little bit just to reach over through your back. You can do a lot more just using your legs and reaching straight down, like so. But let's say you do that and your back is still folding around like a beautiful little shrimp. This is what I would tell you to do instead. It's the exact same way I teach kids and adults who have never deadlifted before. So firstly, I would get a bench or a box. This bench is actually a bit too high for me in my opinion, but it's still gonna use it today. You probably have heard the cue that you need to send your butt to the back of the room, which is absolutely fine. But a lot of people, when they do this whilst bending their legs. They'll push their bum back like this. Okay, there is a skill to that, but I want you to try this drill instead. Pop your back of your calves or the back of your knees onto the back of a box or a bench. Your job is to not allow these to lift off, okay? Because when we're doing an RDL, which is what we need to do to help us deadlift, we need to be able to move through our hips without moving our shins. What I mean by that is the shins don't dip forward. So, can you now push your butt to the back of the room whilst keeping contact with that bench? That's exactly how we do it. The most common thing you're going to feel here that most people do, they lift through their toes typically, right? On this bench, I won't be able to do that, but I'll show you one example of it. So they'll just lean, 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 and their toes will start to come up. You need to keep your full foot flat on the ground when you do this. So again, calf, shin, into the box of the bench. All I'm going to do, feet flat, push my butt back. My legs can be soft for this and they can be slightly bent as long as my knees do not leave this bench. Try that first. Once you can do that for 10 reps, okay, just down, back up. You can add a wee bit of weight into it if you want with a kettlebell between your legs. That is absolutely fine. We're going to progress into the next stage. The next stage with a barbell or a kettlebell. So if you want to do this a little bit slower, go grab a kettlebell. But if you want to be super specific to the deadlift, grab a barbell. Typically, I set this up on the rack. Just for now, I'm doing it on the ground. So you're going to pick your barbell up from your rack, nice and tall, standing upright. You're going to apply everything we did with the bench just there. What you're going to do is you're going to RDL to your kneecaps. That's it. We're not going any further than that. Okay, so you're going to send your hips back, keep your feet flat without bending the knees. Okay, if you really struggle with this, you can reintroduce your box. Okay, so again, shins against the box, tipping over, getting that bar brushing against my body, just my kneecaps. Back up. Okay, again, the movement is coming through pushing my hips backwards versus just rounding through my spine. My hips stay under me. The only way to get down is rounding my spine. If you push your hips backwards, the chest will lean over more naturally, okay? And now we're essentially going to put it together, okay? So I'm going to put my weights back on the bar for a second. So I've taught you how to use your hips. I've taught you how to apply that to your kneecaps. Now we need to complete the movement. So most people think it's the deadlift from the floor. I like to teach from the bottom down. So again, pick your barbell up from in your rack, okay? So I'm going to start from here. What we're going to do is we're going to RDL to the top of your knee like we just practiced. RDL to the top of the knee. As soon as it's past your kneecaps, bend the knees. That's all it is. So again, stepping away from the bar for a second. All I'm going to do is RDL to the top of the kneecaps. Once I'm at my kneecaps, we bend. Okay? And naturally, you will find you're in a good position to deadlift from the floor. So if I do it one more time from the floor, from the top. So we're going to RDL to the knee, bend. RDL to the knee, bend. On the way up is the exact reverse. You just push through the legs like a leg press till you get to the knee and you pull your hips through. So again, if I was doing this without the barbell, from the floor, I would just push with my legs. My back doesn't move. Once I'm at the knees, I stand through. So on the ground, push through the knees, hips through. Hips back, bend the knees. Push through the knees, hips through. Hips back, bend the knees. That is how I do it. And I guarantee you, half of you would have got the deadlift already. Absolutely spot on. The other half of you will be like, I still feel like shit, my back's still gonna snap. Absolutely valid. So if you're one of those, here's a couple of quick fix exercises you can try to hopefully help you guide you in this direction. So if you're someone who keeps tipping over or falling over and losing your balance every time you push your ass backwards, which I mean, a handful of you will. So again, that'll be the situation of, I'll push my butt backwards and you'll do this. You're gonna wrap a band around a pole, a bench, whatever it is. Get a wee bit of tension on it, pop it under your tiptoes, okay? As you can see, right there, it's under my tiptoes. If I let go, because I fell backwards, so if I did this, the band goes, okay? So, with or without a weight, so without a weight, practice the movement, send your hips backwards, brushing your hands along your thighs. Can you hold that shape, okay? Then with my weights, exactly the same position, like so, okay? So just your RDL to start with. Once you've got the hang of that, I'll go a little bit closer and I'll hold my deadlift position. So hips go back, bend the knees, back up. Hips go back, bend the knees. Okay? With a kettlebell, I don't usually have to touch the floor because it's a lot lower, but that is one for anyone who's tipping over. If you're someone who's got a bit of a chocolate back and everything you do just happens to be this, yes, you need to learn to get your hips out from underneath you. That is the most crucial part. But you can actually do something that engages your shoulders to be back a bit more. You can grab your kettlebell behind you. And what you'll see from here is rather than being in this position like this where I'm rounded over like a shrimp, my body is naturally pulled into an open back. You still will have to do the same things, push your hips back, and from there, hips go back, back up. It makes it easy to stand back up as well. So hips go back up. It's not the most long, doesn't give you the most long life in terms of deadlift exercises, but it's a good one if you need to learn how to set your shoulders. And ultimately, you should be able to come back to your deadlift by this point and be able to complete the lift. Just bear in mind these couple of things. It's a skill. It's going to take multiple weeks to feel natural. One, that it doesn't feel like it's wrecking your back because your back needs to build up tolerance. Two, because you actually just practice being in the position and creating that tension. You're not going to get it in 1 week. Lots of people take weeks to get this, especially if you're doing this on your own. The main thing is keep the load under control. 5 to 10 kilos on each side is absolutely plenty. Just make sure they're these big plates like this where it's the correct height off the floor. You don't want really small plates because then you'll be wrecking your back even more. And then by this stage, you should be back at your deadlift. And if you're not, and you're not confident with it still, don't worry. That is exactly why we have the alternate system in my Dad Armor program. 2 to 3 exercises listed that you can do instead of that. And if none of those work, you drop a message in the Discord, I send you something else that's simple, usually machine-based, that you can do, and it ticks the box and you still get the results. No exercise is a must here. However, if you're someone who wants to build a skill, that's the process you can go through. It takes a couple of weeks. You will get there. You just have to persevere a wee bit.